warriors step through there, face through bulkheads, boots don't land, combat blades flicking each hand, siren stutter, crew runs blind, Russian curses spill behind, dripping pipes drum overhead, every shadow wants them dead. Surf ninja beach boogie on a midnight raid, spirit dance spinning with a bloody blade, keep that iron fleet trembling at the edge of the waves. Surf ninja beach boogie in the ocean waves. Chart room shaking, maps take flight, hydrophone hissing light, periscope spin sees the shore, mask and board on the water's roar, on the swells they draw their line, bare feet stamping, beating time, salt on lips, toes in sand, spirit dance kills every command. Surf ninja beach boogie on a midnight raid, spirit dance burning through the crimson chain of command, keep that iron fleet drifting far away from our land. Surf ninja beach boogie till they understand. Left foot, right foot, healing foam, call the storm and send them home. Decks run red, the ghost advance, but the tide swings wide for the spirit dance. Surf ninja beach boogie, shake the breaking waves, spirit dance rising like a tidal wave, keep that iron fleet turning back the way it came. Surf ninja beach boogie, remember the name.
Howdy, howdy, it's your old pal, Tiki the Hut. Thanks for joining me again on another Too Late Tonight with Tiki. How is everyone doing? Oh man, the chat is popping. Oh, look at all this. Look at everybody. Hey, 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 hey. How are you guys doing? Man, look at all these people. Hey, RK, everybody. Yeah, RK, I saw you said something about the new drop platoon. Are you talking about that? I've heard scuttlebutt about the new Firefly platoon. What if that's what you're talking about? Hey, Squark! What's going on, brother? So what we'll be painting today is going to be catching up on my my Konflikt 47 Spanish Blue Division for the Axis. So hopefully today, what we're hoping on doing is getting some of these guys spun up, and we're trying to get some snow bases put on them. No, go ahead. So here's the thing, I don't mind. It's not a spoiler. I don't mind because it's gonna come out anyways. You know, it's not a big deal. I just don't chase out the early access stuff, and if you guys tell me about it, I think it's cool. You know, so I don't mind at all. Old time euphemism. Oh, it was a web page release. It's divisive. Ooh, I'm excited to hear about it. Okay. A divisive thing. Divisive for Konflikt 47. Let's see. I mean, to be honest, something divisive that's not walkers. There's nothing against walkers. You know, I think they're cool. Warlord Games definitely needs to sell them because they give them every rule they could to their benefit, which is cool and all, but let's see what they're gonna do. Okay, so medic firefly. Okay, so flamethrower fireflies, as the name implies, flamethrower fireflies have kind of always been around, so that's kind of cool. Oh, that's not bad. Yeah, sounds like a drop. Okay. That's perfectly fine. So the reason why I'm not too worried is with the way that I play with my Imperial Japanese, you guys know I take a lot of stuff on ambush. So it doesn't scare me that much. I usually have several Shihoto Type 97s. I have a lot of zombies out there as well. So Fireflies, I've never personally worried about Fireflies. Linebackers I've worried about, but Fireflies have never cost me much stuff. Hey, howdy, what's going on, Matthew? All right, let me get my brush out and start going. So we're gonna try and hit everyone's boots, and then we're gonna try and start putting snow on everybody. Well, Ginny, if it helps, the thing, so, because the guy I played at my local shop, I played him recently, that huge game I sent pictures of, that big old 3K versus 2.5K, which ended up turning into like 4K with 500 points of Fireflies versus 2.5K, and it was still fun. What you do when you're going up against a lot of Americans is you need to, at least what's worked for me in the past, you know, mileage may vary, you need to rob their mobility. And the best way to rob mobility when you're playing as the Imperial Japanese is by utilizing the advantages you get from ambush. Fireflies have increased mobility, which is great. Now, when you have and I was talking about this, I think, earlier in the day on Ed Scar's. Oh, sorry, I don't know why I snapped. But Ed Scar's, he did a live stream earlier when he was trying to design an Empire Japan Konflikt 47 platoon. And I was looking at what works for me, because I think my design's a little bit different from a lot of other people's, is by having interlocking... Oh, here, hold on, let me fix my screen. Hold on. There you go. There you go, my mask was messing up, sorry about that. But by having interlocking fields of fire for your ambush, you're gonna do tremendous. Like, actually, these guys are kind of like my German Falcons, so they're kind of like Fireflies, you know? They do, so they do look like Legion dropships, yeah. So, I got the jetpacks and the beret hats with masks. I got those from, let's see if I can bring this up a little bit closer for you. I got those from Mad Robot Miniatures. Same place I got the flag hand from Mad Robot Miniatures. That is one of my dreams. For those of you guys who don't know, my favorite guard regiment, it's not even a regiment, but my first book I ever read for 40K was Guns of Tanith. So I love the Fantine Skyborn and the Fantine Air Corps. It's why I love Double Eagle. And I think there's a couple other new books out following, I think her name was Jada, and some other stuff, so I need to read those. Alright, take it easy, Russell. Hey, man, I'm glad I got to see you in the stream, Russell. I always read your recaps and I always like it, but I'm glad I got to catch you in the stream, brother. Take it easy. Yeah, the reason I did that, Madlock, I figured them being Spanish, you know, I tried to take like a historic uniform and make it a little bit more diesel punky. So I took their blue shirts, loose tan pants, and red berets. I kind of make it a little bit more winterized, you know, make it a little bit more ready for Konflikt 47. Sorry, I got distracted by that. I'm trying to keep up with the chat. It's so hard. I streamed once before, I promise. I think I know what I'm doing. But no, going back to fighting the Fireflies, the key is to get interlocking ambush. So usually the way that works is, here, hold on. Forget the dead air. I'm just retrieving some miniatures. Give me a second here. Alright, so instead of digging out 6 zombies, I'm just going to dig out 3 little bastards. Alright. Right. So what I'll have is I'll have my Shinhoto back here, medium AT gun. I'll have 3 zombies just chilling. So if they try and bring the fireflies and they try and do the whole, you know, land on the side of the tank on either side or kind of land on the ass and do their whole, you know, close range E-slug popping thing, these guys, if you keep them in ambush, they'll be able to pop their ambush, and wherever these asshats land, they will eat them. So that's actually pretty cool. So that's generally how I protect my tanks, and same thing. And if that doesn't seem like it's enough, you know, you can also pop your tank's ambush and hit them with the bow and the rear medium machine gun, and that's also close range too. So you're hitting them on like 2s. So, I think there's a lot of different ways to play Konflikt 47, and that's kind of the cool part. But me myself, I'm still playing like it's Konflikt 47 OG edition. So I'm still taking bolt action with Konflikt 47 models. And because of the rules of the Japanese, I'm trying to avoid the... I don't want to say it's a trap, because it's not. But I'm avoiding taking a lot of the new hotness and sticking with the old busted. A lot of the new hotness rift units, like Ghost Attack Squads. I even have... Y'all heard the intro song. The intro song is all about the Ghost Attack Squads. They're cool. They're cool as shit. But they're... I wouldn't say swingy. They're... Ironic as it sounds, it's like a katana. Like, it's... You're swinging it, and when it connects, it's going to connect. But when you miss, you're going to miss by a mile. It's... Maybe that, well, by definition, maybe that is swingy. It can be hard to use, so it's like an unwieldy glass cannon. And me personally, I don't play enough to get good enough for that to be fun. Some people are like, yeah, okay, I'll mess up the first 2 times, but then I'll get better. So like I said, I don't go to big organized tournaments, so I don't go hang out all day and play 3 games. There's nothing wrong with that. Hopefully it doesn't sound like I'm saying anything's wrong with that. You do you, boo, however you want to game. But the problem with that, the good thing about that is you get plenty of repetitions with your army and you learn your army. The way I play is I try and schedule out these days. I'll show up. We have a huge casual thing. We're all drinking, joking around, smoking and joking, having a good time. And then I'll play my army based off how I've kind of like list built them in my head and kind of like practice a little bit, right? So I have I have like a smaller margin of error, I guess. I try not to go into the big high-tech, high points per model, risky things. I like to stick with the tried and true, you know... Type 38 rifles, bayonets, and Type 97 tank, the tried and true. But that's just me. Like I said, you may come across your own style, but there's plenty of good normal technology units in Konflikt 47 in the list without even having to reach back into the bolt action list. When you reach into the bolt action list, you gotta remember you lose all the benefits that you get from that bolt action, like their special rules. So it's not always the best. I mean, you don't lose all those special rules. You lose your army special rules for bolt action, so... Nice. Yeah, just kicked my teeth in the Japanese for my Soviet tip. I had great success bringing bolt action into my Germans list. Yeah, I said, my first game I was worried because I was going up against my... I played him a lot now, Sam. So I was going up against Sam when he was bringing his airborne. So he had plenty of fireflies. Yeah, he had plenty of fireflies, and he had a linebacker, and I want to say a mud skipper. Yeah, he had a mud skipper and a firefly. I was worried. I was like, I don't know if I could punch through that, right? Because I think I had 2 tanks with me, you know? But sure shit, I kept those tanks on ambush, and I kept them almost like in a modified V. So I had one tank right here. There's a building right here, and then I had another tank over here. Oh, my hand's in the way. So I had another tank over here in like a modified V with some zombies hanging out nearby. And sure as shit, each time So yeah, that's the thing. I didn't have lunch mine yet because this is right before the Imperial Japanese bolt action book dropped. So I was like, ah, shit, let me just try pure what's available in Konflikt 47 book. So I didn't have any lunch mine. So all I really had for anti-tank was my 2 tanks. But those medium AT guns popping on ambush, I'm telling you, hitting up, because you're hitting on 3s, because you haven't moved, so you're hitting on a 4. Plus, an AT gun hitting a vehicle, it bumps you to a 3. It's pretty nice. And it's still a medium AT gun. It's still going to absolutely rock some worlds, right? Because the biggest thing you got to remember is you don't, unlike some other games, you don't have to kill walkers. You just have to fuck them up. As silly as that sounds. You don't have to always get the glorious kill shot. It's cool if you do. You know, kings to you, of course, but you just got to take away their mobility, especially with linebackers and mud skippers. You have to kind of rob them of their mobility, make them think twice. And when they start thinking twice, they'll start hesitating. They'll start making bad jumps, bad decisions. So between those 2 tanks on ambush and my sniper team with the Shibuya rifle on ambush, and that's what I kept using my officer's guts point on, or that's what I used his guts point on, was bringing that rifle back into action as quick as I can and trying to keep that bad boy in ambush. Plus an AT rifle, it really starts adding up. So just take the leg, sweep the leg, sweep the leg, Johnny. It's just me. I make bad decisions. Alright, so let me park my Shinhoto over there. Yeah, if I paint this guy, this will be number 9, I want to say. It's like I have a disease. If you guys haven't seen pictures yet, I posted pictures in some different chats of the huge game we had. And 2,500 points, I brought 8 Shihas, plus a Kami swim tank, and a Type 92 armored car. So I made a mistake. I made the map too large. It was ridiculously large for a map. It wasn't as bad as Berlin. We actually had a lot of fun, but we weren't able to finish the game. We just kept fighting over the middle objectives and just absolutely deleting each other, which is awesome. But it was a good game. I want to say, I think we were there for like 8 or 9 hours, but I want to say we probably played like a good solid 4 or 5 hours. Here, let me get my brush. Let me get painting. So I had this glorious idea, and it's probably gonna become the Tiki standard. So, no. So this wasn't over like one long shared table. This is just 4 tables pushed together, right? And so they had a beach landing. They had water. They had beach. Then it was kind of a jungle area. So they started in their area. They had one objective they had to take and hold, and that was the docks. I had my entrance to my cave network. So basically we both took and hold that, not a big deal. And then there's 3 objectives in the center of the map. On the right there was the fuel dump, in the middle there was the crossroads, which actually had roads. And on the left was an airfield. Now what helped is the first turn we did night fighting. So that allowed them to move up the beach, and that allowed me to move my guys. We did a meeting engagement. The whole purpose was they're making a sneaky night landing, and I happened to have a mobile defense force that saw them and started mobilizing to move against them. That's why I had a whole light tank company with infantry support, right? So we both did meeting engagements. We're both bringing our models on the first turn, and the first turn was night fighting, so that way you don't have to really worry. I mean, we basically just divvied the dice up and just moved our models on, because between the range and the night fighting rules, there's no way anybody can see anybody. Even with my infiltrators, nobody could see anybody. So we made about halfway the turn before we just dumped all the dice out. Like, fuck it, let's just put our models out there. But the Americans and the Soviets did fall for the classic blunder that you run into with big games. Beware the parking lot. When you're playing big games, do not get stuck in a parking lot. Know your exit vectors. Pay attention to your avenues of approach. Don't fall for fatal funnels. And they ran into that. They ran their infantry up, and then their tanks were stuck behind the infantry. And it created this whole traffic circle. I didn't have that problem. I knew that problem was coming ahead of time. So I moved my infantry through jungles and trees. And luckily my tanks are smaller, which I like, you know, so my tanks are able to fit in between terrain and kind of zoom up the board a little bit more. Alright, let's get started here. The overall is a great game. Anyway, so what became the Tiki standard is so I ordered pizza. What I always do. It's not a big deal, but I brought canned Coke Zero and Coke Regular, and I brought a bucket. Yes, I did say a bucket of Captain Morgan. So they're mini bottles. They're like, you know, individual shot mini bottles. Which, it makes sense, because if I have to drive home, you know, I don't have to worry about an open container or anything like that, because you throw away the ones you use, that way I only have sealed, closed containers. Legally, it makes sense for me having to drive home, but, so we have all these mini bottles, and, so I went by the store and I picked up disposable coffee cups, like the little styrofoam ones, with lids. So, we were playing inside of a gaming store, and we just tried to keep it on the hush-hush, you know, figured if they don't know, no one really care, right? So we're drinking rum and Cokes. Well, I was drinking pineapple, I was drinking rum and Red Bull. So we're drinking rum and Red Bull and rum and Cokes while wargaming. Oh, it was a glorious time. Highly recommend it. I don't know if always my favorite way to play Konflikt 47. It's leaded. Alright. Only 17 minutes in and I finally start slapping some paint on. I can get there. Yeah, dude, it was a great time. Like, we had a nice break for pizza, and we ordered more than enough pizza, so anyone in the store, you know, feel free to swing by, grab a slice, you know, hang out, talk for a while. And it was the appropriate Konflikt 47 game, where it's like 60% gaming, 40% like military history and conspiracy theory conversations, you know? It's like, oh, well, what if Hitler survived all the way to Argentina, you know? Or what if this happened? Or what about heavy water? And it was really cool. Arcade's like, what do you mean if you survived? Yeah, the Soviets turned over dental records like 40 years later that were inaccurate? No, you're right, he did survive. I just saw footage of him as a pineapple farmer. But I'm glad you're getting your models painted for the December event. It's pretty cool. Have you been to a Soviet dentist? No. I honestly do not think you could pay me to go to a Soviet dentist. What did he do on Castaway? Just knock it out himself with an ice skate? Yeah, I think that's probably what I ended up doing. Speaking of rum and Coke, we're working on the leftover Cokes and the leftover rums. The teeth pull you. They wake you up. Congratulations, comrade. The Tooth Fairy visited you. That's our dollar now. That's this fraud. Get a little bit bigger. Yeah, there we go. I want to paint these boots a little bit faster and get to the working on the snow. Yeah, so no change in the event. I'm going to start actually inviting people to the Volunteer Gator Cavalry Discord for the Once Upon a December event here pretty soon. And just start stacking you guys up on tables. So once I have you in the channel, you'll just let me know what army you're bringing, like what faction. And we'll start stacking you guys up on tables. We're looking at hopefully at least 2 to 3 2,000 point tables, and then one of the 750. or we may not, or depending on how it goes, we may just fraggo the 750 table. Like I said, if Mrs. RK already has her 2,000 point army, and she's more comfortable with that, we may just go all. We may just keep it simple and go all 2K tables. Because like I said, I got 2K Imperial Japanese I'm happy to use. I'm sorry, yeah, so for a heads up for the event, so this event is happening at Warpfire Games on April 17th and 18th. So the 17th is just a social day. It's not really required, but it's where a lot of us are meeting up at the shop, playing some smaller games, taking the time to appreciate the shop and shop in the shop because they got so much stuff everywhere. Kind of more of a social day, not required. The 18th, starting at opening, going all the way to closing, we'll be playing, well, actually, I mean, you got one game, so you'll be playing one big 2,000 point game. It'll be on a big 6x4 table. What makes it unique is it's Konflikt 47, but instead of starting with an assault platoon, you start with an armored platoon. And that unlocks everything else. So it'll be a lot more tanks and walkers. What do you think about Mordian's PP Patrol? 10 Mark 1s with 4 double PP guns and 6 with 1 in a truck, and then using guts dice to back in the bag for a double move on the truck, and then disembark for shooting. Mad Larkin. First off, always glad to see you, buddy. Super glad to see you in the chat. It's gonna sound like a cop-out answer, and I'm sorry. Hopefully you don't get annoyed. This is why I lean so heavily on ambush. Depends who get. Honestly, it depends on who gets that first dice. If you know if he tells you ahead of time that that's what he's gonna try and pull with that truck full of Iron Man cave rejects, then your first couple dice, you know, if you have the usually I would say heavy machine gun or auto cannons, whatever has those, put that on ambush. And especially if you have at least 2 models to do that, because every time he moves, you can pop that second ambush and absolutely hose the shit out of him. What are the other a good counter to that? This works best if you're American, but it works good if you're anybody. So I mentioned this in Ed Scar's list building stream he did today. It's not that expensive. Something I think just about every Konflikt 47 army could benefit from. Hey! Name change, I like it. Alright. So one thing that you can benefit from is taking an artillery platoon. So just about every Konflikt 47 army can highly benefit from an artillery platoon, and they're very low cost. You take an officer and pay to give them guts, or get it free if you're American, and then take 1 medium AT gun. That's going to be less than 100 points. You have a medium AT gun to keep on ambush, to keep walkers and vehicles and trucks like that at bay. Plus, you have guts. Another dice of guts that you can use however you want. Also, you can, if you have the points, you can also add in like AA guns to get those auto cannons. So that might be a good addition. So to answer your question, Mad Larkin, I would bring whatever you have that's like heavy machine gun or higher like that. Just keep that on ambush and let him do that, and absolutely rip his transport up. Because then his troops. Yeah, no worries, because if you do that, if you ruin that, then his troops are stuck out in the open. And you can absolutely just pin the ever-living bejesus out of them. Another for the Imperial Japanese players, a cheap way to get pins. You're allowed to take bolt action models in your Konflikt 47 army. So, what I recommend is take a look at the Empires of Japan book for bolt action, and the Imperial Japanese Air Observer. Only the Air Observer is cheap, because per the rules, the Imperial Japanese don't have access to, I think it's ground attack aircraft. Yeah, So our aircraft table looks different. It's like majority of our roles is strafing aircraft, and then like the very bottom is a fighter bomber. So because of that, our forward air observer is very cheap. It's only like 50 points. So for bolt action for 50 points, you can have a lone air observer who can call in an airstrike. Regardless of what it is, it's going to generate shit tons of pins. And then you can also serve as your forward air, as a observer for like your mortar, heavy artillery, spigot mortar if you're feeling froggy. So I think to kind of piggyback off what Matt Larkin was asking, I guess it's kind of more unsolicited Konflikt 47 advice. Take what you want, take the models you like, there's nothing wrong with that, but also spend points wisely. And I think for the Imperial Japanese, a 50-point air observer who can also be a spotter, not that bad. Not that bad. Yep. RK is correct, yep. This isn't anything with indirect, so you're good. So there's some synergy there, and like I said, 50 points is not too shabby. And everyone kind of so here's the other thing, because Ed Scar was talking about it. Air observers. Not to go full, and remember, I'm not one of those cool guys. I was never JTAC, TAC-P, or combat controller. Nothing as cool as those guys. Those guys are, I'm not even kidding, they're like Spartans, like men among men. They're absolutely amazing. Super cool. Highly proficient. Very, very, very intelligent at what they do. But anyways, so talking about close air support and how ECAS and calling in support works to keep it, very respectful and bare basic here. It's all about kind of racking and stacking, and the vectors are important. It doesn't matter just like calling in an airstrike. It's not like a game where you just like throw a smoke grenade and then the airstrike comes in. Kind of yes and no. So usually the officer, most times an officer, usually the pilot or the officer operating that aircraft is the weapons specialist, so you describe what your target is, like, hey, I have a squad in the open or a squad light cover, and they'll figure out what weapon system they have on their aircraft is going to be the best use against that, right? Now I'm getting highly technical with it. Let me bring it back to bolt action Konflikt 47. So when you're bringing in these aircraft for air observer, this is one of those things where it's okay to practice at home, like just like here, like on your little table, on your own little hobby table or your kitchen table. Actually, a huge shout out to RK. Ask RK to show you his aircraft markers. His aircraft markers are beautiful, and it's very, very important to have aircraft markers because it matters where you bring in your aircraft. Like if the tank is right here, and let's say he has a pinto machine gun, right? And you put in your aircraft marker right here, or up to, bear with me here on the distance, right? I only have so much room on camera, right? But you're bringing it in basically into his, we'll call it to his like 1 o'clock. He's gonna be able to get flak on you, right? That's not gonna do much good. Especially when you have walkers, when they have guns on their arms, the flak roll goes crazy, right? So the trick is, you can pick where you put your airstrike icon. Put it off to the stern, put it behind them. Like, really study the battlefield and bring in your aircraft where it's less likely to catch flak. I mean, when you could still get flak from your own guys, but it's still on 6s. So I don't know. I think air observers are worth it if you play them in a clever way. If you keep them cheap, use them dual purpose as observers, and really position your aircraft well. Because it's not all about damage on the biggest thing. Sometimes you just want to pin out some stuff. Yep, there he is. RK gets it. Yeah, maximize the pins. And a lot of people are like, what about the whole a lot of people stay away from air observers because they don't like the whole like friendly fire. Like, what if it pops and then he gets to pick another unit and he picks one of my guys and I end up catching my own airstrike? That does suck. I've seen it happen before. It's not fun. But the trick is to pick something in their backfield, particularly something they don't want to lose. So something that's great to pin out of like mortar teams or, you know, anything that needs to move a lot, pin the shit out of them. Yeah, he's got a good point. Yeah, keep an observer on and move your light mortar teams up to where literally they can just launch it over a wall. And also, I don't think they changed it in Konflikt 47. It's really hard going between bolt action and Konflikt 47 for the Japanese because of the weapon changes. Like I said, in bolt action, the AT rifle's a 2-shot. Also, the grenade launcher has a 6-inch minimum range. So the light mortar team for the Imperial Japanese has a 6-inch minimum range. That's actually super, super cool. Super cool thing to have. So I highly recommend, at least for the Imperial Japanese, one of the few benefits we have, try out your Air Observer for 50 points, because honestly, 50 points, that's like what medics used to cost back in the day. I mean, it's a great value. For Americans, take an artillery platoon. Cheap officer as cheap as possible, and take a, well, you can actually take a heavy AT gun if you're feeling. If you got the points, take a heavy AT gun, or just take a medium AT gun. Super affordable points-wise, and as Americans, you get that free point of guts. So, that's hugely beneficial. It's hard to imagine any Konflikt 47 list that couldn't benefit from an extra officer with guts and a medium AT gun to keep on ambush in the back, just in case a Frogger or a Walker gets froggy. Ooh, now there's a comment I haven't heard in a while. Prairie fire. That's interesting. Alright, so what we're doing right now is we're just getting the leather boots painted, so then we can actually do the snow effect on all these guys. Oh no, Nathan, no, brother, you do you, Ben. My sole goal is to hopefully get to play some Darktide with Nathan. Every time I send him an invite, he tells me to go fuck myself and keeps calling me a high scum. I think it's inappropriate and unprofessional, but I try not to bother him. Nah, he tells me I just gotta invite him. Yep. Yeah, HS is getting it right. Yeah, blunting that Firefly deployment. Like I said, that's what same thing. I think people worry too much about the zombies. If you can ask, I mean, you can't. They're not here, obviously. But the guys I play with, I use Shibito a lot because they're a low-cost Rift Tech unit that's not too complex. You know, I can take 12 of them in 2 squads of 6, and I'm not losing a shit ton of my points. And I can use them again. They have Infiltrator. There's all sorts of cool stuff about them. I think they're useful in how you use them. I don't think you need to really be scared of any model so far. And again, I say this taking on a Mammoth and a Mastodon, right? I lost the game, but I still wasn't scared to take them on. There's no model that's super scary. You just have to find a clever way to beat them. So how's everybody's Konflikt 47 experiences so far? It's been out for a little bit. Is everybody enjoying it? How are you guys feeling about the Assault Platoon? I'm still not sold myself, but I'd like to hear y'all's opinions about it. Yeah, Kintor's got it. That's exactly what they are, because especially the trick with the Shinhoto is you keep them on ambush, preferably inside of cover, because that goes with the Imperial Japanese rule set. Not only can they ambush out of cover, but also they get that +1 if they're in cover as well. if they're in ambush or down inside, or if they're in ambush inside of cover. It's unfortunate. RK, I may have to drive up there for a weekend and just get some bolt action in with you. I've been getting a lot of bolt action gaming in. I'm still not very good, but I've enjoyed playing. Yeah, the Rift Eye are kind of, I don't want to say they don't feel bolted on. No, it's just a very cumbersome thing. You're just like when it flows well, but you're just like, oh yeah, we gotta do this. So we actually, while we played our game, last week, the big bolt action game, we played bolt, because you know how they have rules about you can bring bolt action to Konflikt 47, they just don't get their abilities. We actually played it differently. We just, we added Konflikt 47 to bolt action. Like, he could just bring 500 points, so he just brought like some fireflies and that was it. And it was glorious. We need spider holes. Yeah, I love that new infantry set. That new infantry box, I really like it. I like how you get 30 guys plus 5 spider holes, so that you basically have, 35 guys. Spider holes would be great for your snipers, your light machine guns, and stuff like that. Oh, yeah. Ooh, actually, on the Battlefront report, I do have something to tell you guys. I got to run, and sadly it didn't get attacked, but it scared the hell out of the people playing. I got to run probably my new favorite unit, the AT rifle. I've been running the new AT rifle for the Imperial Japanese for a couple games now, the 2-shot. It's fixed, but that doesn't matter. Putting out 2 AT shot rifles is glorious. But I took it as veteran and airborne, so everyone gets tough fighter. And I added, I want to say, I think 3 guys to it. So I actually, was it 3 guys? Oh no, I added 2 guys. Yeah, I added 2 guys. So I had a legit like 4-man squad, a 4-man AT rifle squad. So it's 2 dudes with rifles, a loader, and the AT rifle guy. I was not worried about moving that squad or leaving that squad out in the open. They had covered and they had a good point of view on the field, like line of sight wise, but somebody wants to charge that. I mean, in Konflikt 47 it's different, but in bolt action, unless you got like 10 dudes with SMGs, it's still gonna be a tough fight. Because I had a game with RK way earlier on. Much earlier on in 3rd edition, and I thought I was all Billy Badass with my Imperial Japanese, and he brought in his British. We're playing a night drop, and he came in with this. He came in with his submachine guns and absolutely beat me like I stole something. So I was like, huh, okay, so Fanatic's not okay. I was like, I need tough fighters, and then I'm sitting there trying to add in submachine guns, which the Imperial Japanese do not get a lot of. And then the new rules drop. If you take airborne and you're veterans, you can just add tough fighter, which is cool. Because historically, that represents all the Jukindo training that the Imperial Japanese had. So the whole story behind that is during the Meiji period, when the Imperial Japanese were doing a lot of modernization. Think about this like around the time like Boxer Rebellion, when they beat the piss out of the Russian Navy like twice. So around that time period, they were trying to modernize a lot of their stuff, including their gear, their sword, even their swords. Well, they're looking about bayonet training with their rifles. Well, they've already had spear training on their infantry, because anytime you raise a levy of like peasants or like village people, for your army, the cheapest weapon to give them that's effective is a spear. It can stab a person. It can stop a horse cavalry, It can be used in a less than lethal. You can beat them with the other side of the spear. It's good for standing guard. Spears are useful, right? So spears have been around for a while. They had plenty of spear training. So, they take a look at the French military's bayonet training, and they kind of like it, kind of not, and they implement a few changes into it, and then that's how they come up with Jukindo. So a lot of people have heard of Kendo, like Kendo training. That's when you do basically training with a sword, but it's kind of like a bamboo sword, you know? So Jukindo is a very stylized wooden rifle, and you wear a certain type of armor, and you actually do bouts with fighting with that stylized wooden rifle, kind of like you would like a kendo stick. So it's actually the nearest example we have here in the West is like pugil stick fighting. It's very similar to pugil stick fighting, but obviously very, very, very different. But the Imperial Japanese leaned very heavily into Jukindo training because it didn't really cost much. They already issued their troops their rifles, and they train with their rifles. It's not costing much. And that was also the Imperial Japanese answer to not being able to put out as many machine guns, submachine guns, or ammunition as much as other countries. So they knew they were going to absolutely get their shit mowed down by machine guns. They're not dumb. So one of the benefits, one of the ways they came around that was, well, we'll own the night. Now at this time, despite what Call of Duty games will tell you, there was not a lot of what we call STANO in like the 30s and 40s. STANO is an acronym standing for Surveillance, Target Acquisition, and Nighttime Observation. So, was there technically some night vision thermals? Kind of. Was there technically like holographic sights? Kind of. That's more on aircraft, but nowhere near as prevalent as these modern video game shooters when they make World War II games make you think, where everybody's running around with SMGs with fucking holographic sights and shit. There were some, especially later in the war, mostly with the Germans. They had some daylight scopes and shit like that, but nobody really had anything for nighttime other than dogs. Dogs were great, but other than dogs, no one really had any way of fighting at night. So the Imperial Japanese figured out, like, well, if they can't see us, they can't shoot us as effectively. So they leaned really hard into the Jukindo, not just the hand-to-hand fighting, but the Jukindo fighting, like fighting with a rifle and bayonet. Because if you've ever seen the Type 38 rifle and the Type 99, if your soldier's like as tall as this guy's elbow, the rifle goes all the way up to his head. I mean, it's literally a spear that it's like the Custodes. It's a spear that shoots bullets. that's how they designed their Type 38. So they trained, like, a lot of their basic training. They spent a lot of it drilling at night, doing massed infantry movements at night as quiet as possible, and then they spent a lot of it with Jukindo training, with rifle and bayonet fighting. So they were highly effective, highly effective in close combat, particularly at night. That should be one of the Baragon's village people. Yeah, so it's a fun little tidbit of history. That's where. Oh man, I gotta make sure I primer him better. I missed a whole spot on him. But that is why, and it's cool to see that reflected in the rules about how if you're a veteran, you know, you get tough fighter even with a rifle. I'm like, this is cool. This actually reflects. I had to say that for Warlord games, that are new Imperial Japanese book. It covered a lot of cool historical stuff. The grenade discharger, the light mortar, the knee mortar actually has the 6-inch range. The semi-automatic AT rifle is a 7-shot semi-automatic 20mm. Gets 2 shots but fixed because it's so heavy. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so it's like the bayonet on the LMG makes a lot more sense now. Yep. Same thing on the submachine guns. Yeah, a lot of these guys, like, only really the officers were trained on how to use a katana. I mean, some of the NCOs maybe, but the average troop was trained relentlessly on how to fight with a rifle. And that's why the Marine Corps was such a good adversary for the Imperial Japanese, because the Marine Corps trained very heavily in close combat and rifle fighting. So that's why you see in the jungle it was such a good matchup. I know it feels disrespectful to say because people lost their lives. It was very brutal fighting, but neither side really had an advantage in close combat in the Pacific because the Marines they trained as a very shock troop, high mobility, high aggression, close with the enemy, seek and destroy type of force. So it was almost the perfect punch counterpunch versus what the Imperial Japanese were training. So it was a very effective matchup. And there's not a lot of information, but when you go and check some of the other countries, a good example, when you check the, later on the term gung-ho, when you check about, you know, the Imperial Japanese versus the British in certain areas, or more importantly, versus the Chinese warlords or some of the other forces, you start seeing that very brutal type of close combat kind of go in there. Those night raids, especially you look like in the Philippines, those night raids were tough. Again, then they tried against the Marines, and the Marines, like, it's like the whole Bane, like, oh, I was born in darkness. Like, you want to get closer? Okay. Yeah, same thing. Then you see the Japanese try that versus the Gurkhas. And that's even worse. It's like these people who were born for close combat. It's like, okay, this isn't going to work, right? But that being said, I mean, you know, if you kind of take away a lot of stuff, and it's a big, like, what if thing, like, imagine a small, like, or imagine Imperial Navy SNILF, right? Give them a lot of bayoneted SMGs and some bayoneted rifles and some bayoneted LMGs, and send them to, like, clean some Soviets out of some, like, buildings, you know? I don't know. Between all the Soviet submachine guns at night, that'd be an interesting fight. But yeah, I think when the Imperial Japanese started running across, how do you say this, professional militaries, I think that's when they started reaching the limit of their abilities. Like full standing armies, like when they come across like proper British soldiers or Gurkhas, Chindents, Maros Marauders, and they came across the Marine Corps, and they came across the fully logistically supported U.S. Army with all its ammunition and vehicles. There's nothing they could do. I think even with all the advanced high-tech stuff and morale, I don't think that force was ever meant to. That force was never meant to take on a professional army. Going all the way back in the 1930s, I do not think the IJ was ever designed to take on a actual peer-to-peer military force. I think it was meant to, you know, expand and take Manchuria, take the Koreas, while the rest of Europe is distracted with the main show of Hitler basically expanding his European collection pack, you know, one Poland and Belgium at a time. Imperial Japanese are going to go ahead and handle the crumbs of colonial force. Yeah, so that's the best, my opinion, only based off what I've read. I don't fucking know what I'm talking about, right? So my opinion is the Imperial Japanese military from the 30s to the 40s was designed to rapidly strike, attack, and conquer colonial forces. A bully force, basically. Yeah, I don't think they were ready for peer-to-peer combat. You know, again, so I think that's when they started like, oh shit, okay, yep, nope. They were shocked, the Maori were excited, yeah. I'll have to look that up, RK. That sounds really interesting. It sounds strange enough that it'd actually be true. You know, like the whole Stranger Than Fiction, Truth of Stranger Than Fiction kind of thing. Yeah, and that's why when we were talking about, I think on Zern, he was talking about rear-facing machine guns. I was telling him, like, one of the many reasons why that kind of stuck in their design from the early days is when they finally started employing their tank force, you know, their Type 89 IGOs, and then, you know, things like that. One of the things they learned where they were using the majority of their tanks was in Manchuria and on the Chinese mainland. And their biggest problem wasn't enemy tanks and it wasn't enemy AT guns yet. It was infantry. It was infantry with, you know, handheld anti-tank devices knocking and disabling out their tanks. So a rear-facing machine gun kind of made sense for tanks that were solely used as infantry support vehicles and not main battle tanks or tank destroyers or light tanks or reconnaissance or anything like that. They were solely used as mobile gun platforms for infantry support. So that kept them safe. And then later, when they were trying to do convoys like down into Burma or into Vietnam or other places, they started realizing, you know, how effective it was to have a rear-facing mini machine gun. It wasn't like the reason for the design, but they found a use for it, because Lord knows they weren't going to get it fixed. Is it helped against aircraft duty for convoys. Because if you're driving a convoy, when you space out your tanks, you can actually, well, this one, I don't think this one has, yeah, this one doesn't have rear facing. Oh, it does, it just broke off, okay. So you alternate how your barrels are, so the gun goes out that way, and the tank behind him is going to have his gun the other way. So you're keeping the ability to put AT pressure anywhere in 360, but you're also maintaining a machine gun 360, so you're maintaining 360 security in your convoy. But also, even if you're just driving like this in the convoys, your bow mini machine gun is able to pitch up to give you support in the front, and your rear mini machine guns give you support in the rear, because if you're traveling on a road, most aircraft are going to come in using the road to strafe and fly off. So it turns out the rear-facing mini machine gun was actually somewhat useful. I guess they found a use for it for convoy duty and protecting from aircraft. Alright. That's everyone's boots, so let's get some snow painting done. But as far as what you were talking about earlier, I'm excited to see more Firefly platoons. I mean, yeah, it sounds like the I know it's Fortress Europe. I'm not trying to be a dick or anything, but Imperial Japanese always getting the shaft. But hey, you know what? At least the Italians got shafted more than the Japanese for once. I think in Konflikt 47, the Italians are getting shafted more than the Japanese, and that's saying something. Alright, so we adjust that light a little bit. So what we're using is our apple barrel matte. Very very approachable priced paint. You can pick up at any like little, I don't know what you call it, like home goods store, like Joann or Michael's or Hobby Lobby, whatever you got. So I like to put it down like 2 coats on the base before I use the more expensive AK Snow Stuff. And as you can see, what it does is it gives you like this like little snowbank effect. It's kind of hard to tell even with that light. There you go. There you go, you guys see the depth of it now. So I know, unpopular opinion, right? Spicy opinion. If someone were to ask me what I want to see from Konflikt 47, RK might agree with me, we'll see. I want to see partisans as a faction. And what I mean by faction, I know, ceasefire before everyone loses their mind, is I want rules for partisans that can work for almost any faction. You know what I mean? Like, an army that's kind of on its own. So when you take these partisans, or when you take these militia, or whatever the hell you want to call them, resistance, you know, there's rules for taking, you know, it's kind of like the old Soviets where they have like kind of stolen Riftech maybe, you know, or they have like some watered down Riftech stuff. But they have like, they find, okay, so here's what I want, right? hopefully get excited with me, right? Like you can hear like the little dream effects. Here's what I'm dreaming of. I want low-tech solutions to counter Rift Tech models. So I want Resistance as an army choice, and I want them to have low-tech solutions to fight Rift Tech models. I said that twice, but I want that to kind of go through. That would be cool. Like, here's a good example. When you take them, for every 500 points of resistance you take, you get to place one, you know, it'll have a size, like one sized obstacle on the map. And it's specifically an anti-walker obstacle, like they have in the book, where like not even walkers can walk through it, you know? That would be cool. Or if they have, you know, minefield, so your enemy can't use infiltrators. That would be cool. Like, imagine your Castle Wolfenstein, your new ones where they have like the resistance and stuff like that. That's the faction I want to see. Before any more Japanese, before Italians, I want a resistance, and I want them to have, again, low-tech counters or low-tech solutions to Rift Tech units. That's what I want. That would be absolutely awesome. I think anyways. I think it'd be really cool. Now, to be fair, I'm saying that while literally during the week painting my Gene Stealer Colt. So I think there's some crossed wires there. I think, you know, messing around with my Gene Stealer Colt makes me thinking about taking, you know, asymmetrical forces in Konflikt 47. And I've been looking at RK's amazing resistance that he's been painting. They look great. I want to build my resistance, my Dutch resistance. And I've been thinking about finally building my railroad for Fallout, Wasteland Warfare, and factions. So I've been in a very very guerrilla or partisan thing that has nothing to do with my work. I know you guys want to blame me for everything going on in the world. Ecuador's a lovely place this time of year. So I hear. So RK, if you're down for the challenge, my man, my good man, my buddy, my pal, one of my mini Konflikt 47 confidants. We'll talk in the Discord, and let's come up with a homebrew. Let's come up with homebrewed resistance. And the cool thing, if you do a resistance faction, then you can be anything. You can be Italian. You can be Greeks. You can be Moroccans. You know, you can be what's the term I want to use? Hold on. Hear me out here. I'm trying to use an appropriate term. Give me a second. Bedouin. Ah, there we go. See? I could come up with a safe one. You could have a Bedouin force. You could have a Mongolian force. That would be cool. Trapped between the Soviets and the Imperial Japanese, you could have a Mongolian force. Closer to home for me, you could have a Caribbean force. You know, while the whole world's at war, you know, you don't want to have German U-boats, but you also don't want to have a whole lot of, you know, crusading religious Americans spreading south while dealing also with the ever demanding British Empire for natural resources. Maybe this is the time all of the Caribbean's countries like link up and do their own rebellion. Alright, so your question, Mad Larkin. I'm about to try a Power Armor Squad. It's on my list of stuff to build. I'm making a like a Bioshock themed US Navy force. It's going to be all heavy infantry and power armored with super bazookas. I haven't seen a super bazooka yet. My biggest fear with super bazookas is how shape charges don't work very well against walker units or any like these specialty Rift Tech bullshit. So I don't know about the Kodiaks, is what I'm trying to get at, Mad Larkin. I almost feel like maybe Grizzlies? I feel like if you're gonna be doing that, you're gonna need reliable anti tank. So maybe Grizzlies and not Kodiaks. I know, spicy opinion there. It's tough. Absolutely, Jenny. Yeah, imagine, especially in Canada. Imagine a lot of like First Nations allying with like Native Americans, and like now we have a whole nother revolution on the home front. Yeah, you have some cool shit that can open up. I know. Now it's probably not the best time, but still, I think that. Not that Warlord has ever contacted me for anything. I mean, they've replied to an email I sent once, but that's it. But if they were ever to ask me, that would be my advice for a faction. And that would actually be their first faction rule is they don't have to take assault platoons. They don't have to take Rift Tech units. Or I'd give them like their own type of platoon. Like their first platoon starts with like, call it a resistance platoon or a cell or whatever the hell you want to call it. They have to take, two infantry slots, and oh, here it is. Instead of an officer slot and 2 rift slots, they have to take 2 officer slots and 2 infantry slots. That would be cool. Because that way you can allow them to start taking things like guts or luck, and that's what makes them a lot different. You start getting like some John Connor versus like British robot style stuff. Ooh. So I wouldn't make a sniper mandatory, but I would let them, you know how the Imperial Japanese have the ability to take 2 lunge mines? I would let them take 2 snipers. But I wouldn't make the sniper a mandatory slot. Like I said, I know it's really powerful, but I would let them, I would make it mandatory. They have to take two platoon officers and 2 infantry squads. And the whole reason being for that is it's redundant leadership, so that when you lose one officer, you still have, think of it like compartmentalized command, basically. Yeah, that honestly, that would be my first rule, and that's how I'd start balancing them. And there are other rules for every 500 points taken. They're allowed to put down I don't know what you'd call it. Maybe call it a, just off the top of my head, like a 2-inch by, no, not a 2-inch, what do you call that? Like, I don't know. For lack of a better term, they're allowed to put down 4 32mm bases, obstacles, that count as anti-walker. That would be cool. So they're allowed to put down 2, and then for every 500 points, they get 1 more. That would be legit. And they can place it anywhere except for, call it like 6 to 12 inches from an objective. Yep, keep the field craft for first turn. Absolutely. Yeah, throw some more ideas in here, guys. It's actually kind of a fun little chat exercise we're doing here. This is pretty cool. I think that would be glorious. It would be so cool to have a low-tech solution to all these Rift Tech models. Yeah, letting them take 2 snipers, make it compulsory to take 2 officers and 2 infantry at the start of their resistance element. Hey, Nathan, how you doing? Nathan, we're actually talking right up your element here. We're talking about adding a new faction to Common 47, but making it a resistance faction. You know, whether you're talking like White Russians or not Republican Spanish, but what else do we have here? Greek, you're talking Italians, Southern Italians, or even Northern Italians if you want to get frosty with it, depending on how late you are in the time zone here. Vietnamese against the Japanese, Imperial Japanese, and later the French. But with all your experience in XCOM, man, this might be right up your alley. It's actually kind of cool. Same thing, I'd bring back their old rule they have about taking tanks, but they have to take them as like inexperienced. And they'd have a lot more access to actual tanks since everybody else is taking walkers or rift power tanks. You know, so there's probably a lot more conventional tanks lying around. Yeah, improved AT. Oh, actually, hey, here's a good one. Oh, I got it. Since no one's making nukes anymore, since there's no more Manhattan Project or AT stuff, what are they doing with all that uranium? So they can actually have depleted uranium rounds. So for their AT rifles or for any of their kinetic penetration, it doesn't lose the -1 for long distance. That would be awesome. That would be huge. That way, when they take their inexperienced tanks, but they shoot long range, if they hit, it's going to connect. Same thing, their AT rifles becomes deadly. And you could just say they smuggled out, you know, depleted uranium since no one's using, you know, nukes anymore. No one's really monitoring uranium anymore. Ghillie suits, nice. Good idea, Nathan. Yeah, Nathan, I'm not sure if you've played Dark Tide since they've added the Hive Ganger. It's actually a lot of fun. Always good to see you in the chat, Nathan. One of the OG guys who supported me all the way back when, like my very first video and stuff. I swear to God, you say that one more time. No, I actually made a pretty good character. So I have Tina 3-armed. She's my Hive Ganger, and she's bald. And she has like that purple face paint. She wears a purple hood, purple pants, and like a purple shoulder top. And every now and then, like, I'll look at the chat. Some people just like kind of like, I see what you did there. Some people are just like ... It's pretty good. Yeah, I'm sitting here thinking about it. I think, RK, I'm looking forward to working on this with you. We don't want to make it too strong, but this sounds like an absolute blast. Which is perfect because we're going to hopefully include, if we do that 750 map, we're going to include some resistance in the game. So that'd actually be pretty awesome. Oh, same thing. I think flamethrowers would be really good for him too. I guess the resistance making good use. If you think about it too, especially against like zombies and werewolves and shit like that, you know? Oh yeah. Yeah, I almost have like a like an engineering squad and call it like a, I don't know, like a better term, like a Grim unit, you know, like Grim Fairy Tales. And they're actually specialized in fighting Rift Tech horrors. It's like zombies, Ursus, Shrek Wolfen, Noctiager, and shit like that. So give them like flamethrowers and fearless and shit like that, that'd be pretty cool. The hard part is going to be separating them from the Imperial. The Imperial Japanese already have so many good, like, sneaky nation rules. I don't just want to take their rules, you know? But some of those rules would work so well for a resistance squad. But I think if we take a look at the finish for bolt action, and like I said, take a look at Case Blue and a few other things, we should be able to pull up some pretty cool ideas on what to do. Yeah, just let them start taking flamethrowers in their squads. That'd be pretty cool. I mean, well, yeah, you could do that as like a cheaper AT. I mean, but AT. So the Molotovs are supposed to function like the AT grenades, but AT grenades really don't work well in Comic 47, particularly against walkers. You know, so you're kind of like, ah. I see what you're saying, and like I'd like to incorporate it, but they already do as AT rifles, and you're just like, they're not that effective. I don't know how we'd make AT grenades more effective. I think adding letting just about every squad take a flamethrower, you know, that would be kind of cool. Hopefully not overpowered. We have to like tinker with that a little bit, but that would make some Firefly units and zombie units kind of reluctant to charge them. All right, take it easy, Kinthor. I appreciate it, man. Thanks, man. Yeah, whatever we come up with, man, we'll post for the public to use. Maybe reduce blast. Ooh. I think there's some things we could do. Like I think like making submachine guns like kind of like make them start with pistols to make submachine guns like pretty cheap or cost effective, you know. I think that'll help. I think allowing 2 snipers is huge, and I think really having them allowing them, giving them that +1 to pin on kinetic armor piercing would be huge, because then they can rely upon that older technology, you know, like AT guns, you know, inexperienced tanks that they stole from God knows who. That would allow them to actually threaten some of this newer stuff. Keep shotguns, yeah. But yeah, I think some of the big ones are letting them have fieldcraft the first turn. And I know it sounds wonky, but I think my letting him put out anti-walker obstacles, like obstacle emplacements, I think that'll be huge. Because depending on how the map is laid out, they could absolutely fuck over. Not like completely, like not like block them, but they could really absolutely like deter walkers coming down certain streets, you know, or force them down avenues. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, there were things like cables and stuff like that, but yeah, that's a good one. Make every shot count. Yeah. Oh shit. Oh, you want to hear? Hold on. I think this is too powerful, Arcade. But you want to hear every American player just shout in anger? Give them the old American rule with the old move and shoot. Oh my god. Oh, sweet Jesus. Call the rule like the quick and the dead, you know? So they're allowed to... Oh my god, they're allowed to move and shoot without penalty. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, but then you gotta ask yourself, what's the point of the submachine guns other than it gives them tough fighter, so... I mean, that's not a bad trade-off, I guess. I mean, if the Brits have it, why not? Oof. Oh, it's tough. I think there's a lot of cool options we can do. I think we can really have fun with this. Arcade, I mean, I kind of voluntold you, but I don't want to bother you. If you're down, man, I think we could really incorporate this. It'd be pretty badass. Yeah, limited infantry only. Oh shit, like a shoot move scarper kind of thing, like the old Ratlings. That would be nasty. Yeah, quick and the dead, yeah, you can move, shoot, and then like move 6 inches. Oh damn. Damn, Arcade, that's pretty good. And that's not overpowered because that can easily be balanced by having enough forces on ambush. So if they shoot, move, and then they move again, you know, let's say they move a little bit, if they try and use that to make good ground and move up the board, you can absolutely destroy them on ambush. Yeah, so I like that idea, Arcade, because that still makes taking submachine guns viable, you know, because they have assault, so it's on that. So that's actually really cool. Yep. And that allows them that allows them to break contact too. Like let's say like some Shrek Wolf are trying to like move in on them, you know, and it's their turn. They can actually move away from them, shoot them, and then move away again. I actually really like the move, shoot, move. That would be huge. That would be really cool because yeah, you can just kind of keep trying to break engagement. But the second move, yeah, can only be like 6 inches, you know. So yeah, you're still moving the same distance if you ran, but you have the ability to move, shoot, and move. Yeah, but there's no fly rule, so you can't just like go over cover. That's what makes it different, you know? Yeah, we have to find some kind of way of balancing that, I think. But then again, they don't have fancy Rift Tech weapons, so it's not like they're going to be super detrimental with that. Yeah, that's a good point. Uh-oh. Hear me out. I'm excited. You got my attention, Arcade. What you got? All right, you're gonna have to explain that one a little bit more to me, RK. I don't think I'm understanding what you're saying. Certain units generate rift dice, but they can be assigned to any resistance unit and can be expended to use one of a. Oh, okay, on a list. I don't know about that. Like I said, I think the point is that they don't have rift dice, and that's what makes them unique. But the way they get around that, I don't know if it's too powerful. You know what? Here's one. Maybe it could be too powerful. You know how we talked about possibly mandating, the resistance platoons start with, you get 2 officers and then 2 rifle squads. And you know how like every American officer gets a free point of guts? I think every resistance officer should get a free point of luck. So instead of rift dice, you have a lot of officers running around with a lot of fucking luck dice. That might be a little more in line with the, plucky, under tech, like, resistance kind of thing. Instead of technology, it represents their low-tech solutions. Yeah, I see what you're saying, just for a tracking mechanism? Yeah. I was in here still chewing on it, thinking. I think there's gonna be a lot that we're able to do with this. It's gonna be pretty cool. Yeah, the trick is balancing it. You know, when I made that division game, I had to learn really quick. Balancing is the hard part. Being a good idea fairy and generating ideas is one thing, but learning how to balance it, especially the points cost, oof. Yeah, I think the idea of not losing pin over distance, that's definitely a keeper. Some of the other ones have just been kind of thrown out. Because that keeps them using low-tech technology like AT rifles, tank destroyers. Because that's what I'd see them using more and more. Instead of like using full-on fucking tanks, I see them using a lot of like inexperienced tank destroyers from other nations. Or AT guns. Or heavy mortars. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna toy around. I know there wasn't a lot of positive response around, which is fine. I don't want you guys to figure out anything, but I'm gonna try and toy around with my idea. I really like my idea of being able to put down anti-walker obstacles. You know, so long as it's like 6 inches from an objective and 12 inches from the deployment zone. But I'll have to play around with that and think about that. So old gamer dad. That's exactly why I was looking at the luck dice. So if every officer gets a free luck dice, you can absolutely fuck with any dice roll in the game. No dice roll is safe. So yeah, that's the other one. I think it's very powerful, but with the Americans getting a free guts dice per officer, I think that'd actually be kind of cool. With every resistance officer getting a free luck die, that would be huge. Because in the game, nothing is safe. I mean, you have so many luck dice, you can really influence any kind of die roll. You know, it's up to you on how much you want to. How much malarkey you want to put in there. And that's kind of how the resistance are. Yeah, and then they can buy luck or guts. Exactly. You exactly got it. Yep. Same thing, they cannot buy Rift Mastery since they don't have access to Rift. Yep. But giving them a free luck dice for every officer just absolutely allows them to play havoc with any kind of Rift shenanigans. They're like, and I bring back these zombies. No, you don't. Roll again. No, so yeah, Rift. So what Rift Tech is Rift Tech is technology. Oh, hold on, I say this. This is more off the old Konflikt 47 lore. I would go off with the lores in the rulebook. There's not much lore in there, but I'll double check it. RK. After the 2 bombs at Dresden and Los Alamos, and the Rift opens, all the kind of energy and information came through. That's what they're using to make the technology. So yeah, it's kind of like future energy. Hey, what's going on, man? Well, I'm glad you're able to make it to another stream. Yeah, I know it's been a while since I streamed. I just restarted streaming the other day, so. We're currently talking Konflikt 47, talking about spitballing an idea for homebrewed resistance faction. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. Romanian force, very nice. Very nice. What I'm painting right now, I'm painting the bases for my my Konflikt 47 Blue Division. So these are my Spanish working for the Axis. I got some painted. I got some painted in the background. I got these other ones I'm painting in the front. So yeah, I generally do like 2 very thick coats of this white matte apple barrel paint before I put on the AK snow diorama terrain paint. Yeah, that's what we go for. We just try to do a super chill stream. So yeah, if people fall asleep during the stream, that's actually a huge compliment. I mean, it's chill enough. Like I said, I always tell people, always try and mimic the old Adult Swim, Toonami, Midnight Run style vibes. A fun place to hang out on the weekend in case you're up too late, you know, or you can't fall asleep. And try to be better about keeping the stream going more readily, you know. But I think keeping these shorter hours makes it a lot more reliable for me, you know? Fits my schedule better. Because now we do 1 a.m. to 3 a.m., so it's not too long either, you know? Not that I've seen yet, Old Gamer Dad, but I don't have early access to Fortress Europe, so I'm not sure what's going on there. We'll see. There's not a lot of lore in the 2nd edition Konflikt 47 rulebook. Yay, Matt Larkin, what's going on, brother? I see you, Larkin. I see you, lurking. I see you lurking, sure as sure. You're fething minutes, Mad Larkin, sure as sure. So the best part about this is you don't have to worry about if you get like a little white, like a little snow on their boots. It actually works better that way. There's no such thing as a Tiki point. It doesn't exist. Regardless of what anyone tells you, there's no such thing as a Tiki point. So it's so funny. I actually fully set up a Discord and everything. Yeah, by the way, I actually have a Discord now, but it's not for what you think. It's not for the channel, it's for a crusade. But, let me say this. Anyone is available to play the crusade. So the way I've set this crusade up is it's geographically separated. So you can play the crusade no matter where you live. If If you live in the UK, if you live in New Zealand, if you live in Japan, you know, the US, doesn't matter. You can play in this crusade. Because the way it goes is every 2 weeks, we roll for the battles on the planet that are taking place, because you're only a vanguard of your alliance. So there's 4 alliances: Order, Chaos, Hive, and Tomb. In your faction, you pick who you want to fight for, because some factions can fight for multiple alliances. Like if you're Astra Militarum or Imperial Guard, you can choose to be Traitor Guard for the Chaos, you know, Imperial Guard for the Order, or you can be like Broodblood. I mean, you still play the same codex, the same rules. It's just which overall alliance you kind of want to dedicate your points to. So the way it works is like every 2 weeks we'll roll for the battles. So if you played a game, you know, that fortnight, if you played a game that 2 weeks and you won, that's +2 to the dice roll. If you played a game but you lost, that's +1 to the dice roll. So not only are you boosting your own forces by doing the crusade and playing games, but you're also affecting the overall campaign as well. But you're not the main character, you're just the vanguard of your force. You know, there's fighting going on. And it's like if you're busy for like a month and you can't contribute to the crusade, it goes on without you. You can kind of see what's happening all the way around you. But what's funny is I start that crusade and I hear 10th edition's gonna end like in June. I was like, oh, son of a bitch. So we'll likely be playing 10th edition crusade all the way until December. Alright, quick question. When you said a World War I M4 tank, I'm not trying to be like a bolt counter or like a history check kind of thing. Are you meaning like a British World War I Mark IV tank, or like a World War II M4 Sherman tank? I can't type for shit myself, so I try never to call people out on like typos or spelling errors because I'm like the worst. But I don't. Oh, okay. Okay. The land ship. Okay, I got you. I don't know, actually. I'll take a look at that one. Jenny, I'll take a look at that and get back to you. I think that's what you're going to do. Yeah. So if you guys are interested in the crusade, send me a message on Discord. Oh, am I back? Hold on. Are we back? Wait a minute. Okay, I think we're back. Alright. Sorry about that. OBS being OBS. But we are just about almost at the tail end of the stream anyway, so it's actually not that bad. But yeah, if you are interested in that crusade, let me know. I want to say it's casual. It's meant to be played casual. We'll actually be using the the Tyrannic War from the OG 10th edition rulebook. So we'll be using that campaign supplement plus your codex to do your crusade. Some of the things that makes it different is you don't have to pick your detachment before you do your order of battle. You pick it before you go into battle. But just be careful because some detachments allow you or don't allow you to use certain units. So be careful when you're building your battle order. One of the other unique things is you roll for your battle honors and your battle scars. You don't get to pick them, so you have to roll. So it increases a lot of randomization, so that kind of keeps people from making these like super wombo mambo combos and just doing crusade to make like their Gary Stew guy even Garrier and even Stewer, you know? Also, there's no epic heroes either. But the other cool thing is there's also kill team missions available. So you take a kill team. It doesn't have to match your faction, but it has to match your alliance. Like a good example, if you go Hive, like I will play Gene Stealer Cole for my army and my faction, but for my kill team I may take the Devourers, you know, as my kill team. Your kill team only has to match your alliance, not your actual faction. Yeah, same thing, Squidfits. I like the RNG because it's all about what that squad learned. You can't micromanage what your squad learns in that battle, you know. So like maybe their weapons got better, you know, like, oh, that's kind of cool. So that's what we're kind of looking at. So we were gonna start in May, but I think we may start hopefully in April. We may kick it up and start in April. So I'm gonna talk to the guys and see what we think, and may kind of jumpstart this thing and get playing. So it should be fun. Like I said, we plan on going, regardless of when 10th edition drops, we plan on going all the way till December. So. And also, the thing that got me was just reading the missions. You go back and you read them, because it's free too. You can go to the website and get it for free. I like things that aren't too expensive. When you read the missions for the Tyrannic War, for the Crusade, dude, they're absolutely awesome. Like, there are some flavorful 40k missions. It's not about 7 and L-shaped terrain. Like, I think one of the missions is just like trying to run off the board, like trying to make it. Like, there's some really cool ones. So. What is my opinion on bolt action digital game? That is a very, very good question. So, what I will answer is I absolutely love Company of Heroes. Company of Heroes 1. When it came out, I loved it. I thought it was great. So, my opinion, that's kind of a weird, easy take on it. I don't play Tabletop Simulator. I set it up once to play an actual board game, but that's it. I don't like to do tabletop wargaming online because I feel like it really strips out what is tabletop wargaming. So I feel like a bolt action video game I'm not looking forward to, but I will say why. Instead of just like poo-pooing on it and being like, I'm, tabletop gaming is more superior, I'm not going to be an a-hole like that. I feel like they already have a very good version of a bolt action video game. And what it is, it's hard to find now, but it was, is it Brotherhood in Arms? Let me look. Man, I said all that. I had all that set up and then I forgot the name of the game. I think it's Brothers in Arms. It was, one of Gearbox's first games, I want to say. Yeah, Brothers in Arms. Yeah. That game. I think Brothers in Arms works a little bit better as a bolt action game because it kind of shows you. It focuses on that small unit tactics, and same thing, you can introduce, and if you did have a game for bolt action, you would need to go all the way back to bolt action 2nd edition and use the reinforced rifle platoon. Because anything else, then there's other games. You try to do it in any other way, and other games are going to do it a little bit better. Because to me, what makes bolt action unique is the turn mechanic. So, I mean, you've seen many games that try to do, like I said, you have like the Mordheim video game for Mordheim Tabletop. There's some games that can be successful. I'm not saying it wouldn't be successful, but my opinion is you're not going to capture the fun excitement, because the fun excitement of bolt action's turn mechanic requires another human, like present, not on the screen, or like across an internet connection. What makes it so exciting is having 2 people there and someone digging their claw in the bag of prophecy and pulling out that dice and seeing what that dice is. I don't think there's going to be a way to replicate that excitement. And I think when you make a video game trying to, it's going to show that kind of husk. But, not to be a Debbie Downer, I think the best way around that then is making a really good, do a re-release of the Brotherhood in Arms games. I don't know. So hopefully I didn't bother you. That's my take on it. Same reason I want to do Tabletop Simulator. It's not tabletop wargaming. I feel like it strips out a lot of my favorite parts of tabletop wargaming, in my opinion. So that's the reason why I don't do Tabletop Simulator. Like when I want to math hammer or move something around, I actually go out to my garage where I have like a small table set up. An old 6x4 piece of wood I had cut that I spray painted long ago on like two, what are those called? Sawhorses? Yeah. And I just go out there and actually just move the models and measure and actually physically do it. I'm not a big TTS guy. Maybe it's because I'm an old grognard, I don't know. Yeah, so here's my example, right? I don't do stand-up comedy, right? I don't think I do very well. I think I tried it once when I was a kid. I didn't do very well. But it's like telling a stand-up comic if doing his stand-up routine in front of a live audience is the exact same with him doing it over Skype, right? Or Zoom call. There's no other human to like bounce ideas or like get that. How do I say this without sounding like some lame hipster chick who's into crystals and astrological signs? There's no other human to kind of like feed that energy and that aura off of. There's no like there's no interpersonal exchange, you know, with a human, and I feel like that's what makes tabletop wargaming its own separate awesome thing. Well, it's funny you say that, Jenny. I got one for you. So, if you guys are old enough to remember, Command & Conquer came out with a first-person shooter, Command & Conquer Renegade. It was really cool because it was set in the world of Command & Conquer. Now, let me see if I can find it here. Uh-oh. I'm just scrolling through my stupidly long and unnecessarily long list of Steam games here. I'm sure we can all relate. So here's the game. So if you have some bottle caps lying around, some spare scratch, wait for it to go on sale. But if you wanted to try and play a first-person Konflikt 47 game, wait for a game called Ravenfield, like the bird. Ravenfield to come out. It's a very, very old game, right? It's kind of like it plays like older Battlefield games, right? You have like blue versus red. But here's what makes it awesome. So with Ravenfield, you can put in mod. The modding scene is amazing, especially on Steam. So you can go in and replace any model with anything. So you can actually turn this into a Konflikt 47 game. Like I had Imperial Japanese on World War II on one side and Soviets on the other side, and then I started swapping out, you know, vehicles with like Kika jet interceptors, and then a walker, and then like a sonic gun, and then a katana. Like you could really kind of go in there and swap stuff around to really get that true cool Konflikt 47 feeling. And then you go into a game, you know, against like the bots or whatever, and it's like you're playing a Konflikt 47 first-person shooter. So look up Ravenfield, common spelling like the bird, Ravenfield on Steam, and wait for it to go on sale. And when it goes on sale, pick it up for like $5, and you'll actually have a first-person shooter Konflikt 47 game. Just put in the mods that you want, and you're good to go. All right, so we got some snow basing down. We have apparently a Shinhoto tank just hanging out. But yeah, man, it was a fun stream. Ark, I'm gonna be blowing up the Discord, man. So get ready for it. I have so many cool ideas. Jenny, thanks for helping with your ideas. The rest of the chat too. Thanks for all your ideas. We'll tell you guys what we come up with tomorrow on the stream. We'll kind of keep it going, but yeah, keep your eyes peeled for the for our homebrewed. For our homebrewed Konflikt 47 Resistance faction. Always need a tank hanging out. You do. You know, it's your emotional support type 97. Do it. Have chi will ha, you know. But no, all joking aside, if you are an Imperial Japanese player, really look into taking a couple of these bad boys. They are cheaper than you think they are, and they are highly effective. I have stopped walkers dead in their tracks. You know, having 2 medium AT guns on ambush, and having that officer with a guts point too. Because the guts point you don't just have to give to your sniper with a Shiboro rifle. If they have a lot of walkers and you're really scared of that walker, or to go back to what you were talking about earlier, Mad Larkin, with Mordian's bang bus of taking a Soviet trunk and a bunch of Iron Man in a cave looking dudes with PP guns right in the back. Hit it with a vehicle with ambush. As soon as he moves it, hit it, and then turn in your guts dice, and the next dice pull, put that tank back on ambush. So when he tries to pull his guts dice and move it twice, you're just gonna shoot it again. Yeah, I'm telling you, these old school tanks are brutal. Because they still have machine guns too, so if Firefly try and ambush you, you have zombies to cover you, and you also have two mini machine guns, and you're going to be hitting them at super close range, so you're actually going to do some serious damage. But yeah, for the Imperial Japanese players, keeping your Shinhoto Type 97s on ambush, and keeping one of your 6-person squads of zombies on ambush to cover them. It seems like it's a lot, but it's having 2 of those tanks and a 6-man squad of zombies is less than 500 points. And you have a solid anti-walker unit right there. If they try and hit you with howitzers or indirect fire, you can always just move, right? Because it's not dug in. It's not a fixed emplacement. Tanks can also move, right? If they try and jump you with fireflies or rush you with something else, those zombies can pop that ambush, up to 12 inches. I mean, me personally, I stay away from the Shiboro cannon version. I don't like the whole 2-shot kind of thing. I like the one reliable AT gun because it's still +1 to hit to vehicles. So if you have it moved and you get +1 to hit, that's hitting on 3s. It's absolutely nasty. Now the dice gods laugh, it's still 50%, but I like that. I like those odds. Tiki tactics, yeah, I'll definitely do that. I'll try. That'll be on my list of things to set up. I'll set up my tried and true Konflikt 47 tactics. But thank you guys for hanging out for a while. I said it was a pretty chill stream. My streams are a lot shorter than they used to be. I just run from 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. Eastern now, but it allows me to do it more often, so I can reliably do it on Saturdays and Sundays, and it doesn't take too much out of my actual work week, so it's a little bit easier to kind of do. Well, same thing with that, Mad Larkin. If you want to take the Kehoe Walkers and take them with just the light AT guns, it's also an option. I'm just not that big of a fan. Tiger X railguns, yeah, those are pretty sweet. You just gotta try. Those are a monster. I'm more scared of those than other things. So hopefully tomorrow, like I said, I'll try and get another coat of the matte paint on these guys, and then we'll actually be putting on tomorrow. We will be putting on the AK Terrain Snow Diorama. So this stuff looks like marshmallow fluff, and I'll teach you, or if you haven't seen it, I'll show you how I kind of literally dollop it on there like Cool Whip, And the thicker you want it, looks kind of more like a snowbank. So it's actually kind of cool. Yeah, Tiki has government's overthrow, right? Mad Larkin, it's like a little meme or a video game. Like, where in the world is Tiki overthrowing governments? Like, is he in Ecuador? Is he in what used to be Persia? Coming to a metropolis near you. No. Tiki streaming from Dubai. Yeah. But no, so I said you guys kind of saw how we started. They were just playing Plan 10 bases. And we just use this very, very affordable, very approachable white barrel. So a lot of people ask me like, hey, what can I use the apple barrel paint for? I was like, I use it for terrain and also use it for basing. So we do 2 coats of that thick white paint, and then we get the actual kind of AK snow stuff ready. But other than that, man, like I said, it was a great stream. It was a fast stream. My head is just the reason why I sound like I'm distracted is my head is just swimming with more Konflikt 47 resistance ideas. I'm so excited to start jotting these down on paper and kind of go back and forth. Make sure I don't have any Discord messages waiting on me. Nope. Oh, let me check. Nope. All right, cool. We are good. So if you guys are headed off to sleep, I hope you truly get the sleep you deserve. I hope you get no nightmares, no one randomly busting your room with a cup of coffee trying to wake you up. If you guys are headed off to work, I hope it's one of those great days. There's no meetings that could have been in emails. There's no mandatory computer-based training about, you know, Nigerian princes or fraud schemes that you haven't heard since, you know, the Y2K days. Oh, sorry, that one actually made me laugh. And as always, I hope you guys stay safe, stay hydrated, don't forget to relax today, because you're on Tiki time.
Shipwrecked soldiers on wooden sand, Type 38 rifles in hand, hula gals with sunburned smiles, no war drums, just beach for miles. Ghost park by Tiki lights, shadows dance in tropic nights, stand beneath where boots once stood, paradise ain't so misunderstood. Lost in waves and hula tunes, tiki drinks and months of moons, forgot the fight in distant lands, just surf and play with tired hands. Bunkers built from palm and hope, coconuts and crude soap, imperial dreams, fade and sun, warriors turn beach bums. Shine to ocean gods we raise, praying for forgotten days, sake in the campfire glow, life's a surfboard ebb and flow. Lost in waves and hula tunes, tiki drinks and months of moons, forgot the fight in distant lands, just surf and play with tired hands.